I wonder if Black Ice Audio knows they accidentally made one of the most affordable, well, I wouldn't say affordable, but like where we are now, okay, HG600s, where we are now is sitting here with the title should be below, but Black Ice Audio Glass FX Tube DAC underscore DSD Wi-Fi preamp slash DAC. Because it's a, I don't know, there's an underscore. I've never seen an underscore in the title of a thing. Wallpaper in the Horde. Hi, I'm Zeospantera. Don't forget to check out In Ear Fetish and all the other channels I run. Or the second channel, which I might actually put real content on now. So this, on Black Ice's site, is a DAC. It's a straight DAC. It's right now on sale, which means it's never not on sale. Like if this ever goes up to $1,250, I'd be shocked. But it's $900. And you're buying a tube DAC. If we turn it over, I put these headphones back on and put that back up because I want to listen to some more Cake. This is Mr. Mastodon Farm. Look, tubes. And so here's the thing about DACs, because I got to explain this because I don't think I've explained it hard enough. A DAC, like there, own S8. Everyone's like, well, all DACs sound the same. And yeah, at a certain price point with certain architectures, all DACs sound the same, roughly. You know, between $200 and, I don't know, $1,700, it's like pretty much a linear, like it should just be numbers. The thing is, a DAC still has an amplifier in it. A DAC still has to make these RCA cables. By the way, RI cables, linked in the description. Italian, very expensive, but I didn't pay for them. So I'm like, fuck yeah, send it to me, Mr. Italian man. I'm gonna fucking love them. The digital signal comes in, coaxial digital is going into this DAC, which that was falling out, and then it comes out analog. But it still has to make the voltage high enough for the correct, 2¼ volts for RCA. So you can do that solid state, like everyone does, or you could do that with a little tiny tube amp that's just designed to bring the signal out of the chipset, which, by the way, this is using a Burr Brown. I haven't had a Burr Brown DAC in forever. And this one happens to have a Burr Brown DAC in it. And I'm not like noticing, we'll get to the, I guess that, maybe if I remember in the future, because I've done a lot of that. I've watched a lot of my reviews and I'm like, we'll get to that later. And I never get to it later. That's not my fault. I don't script this, so sometimes my brain's like, fuck. Anyway, so digital signal comes in, the Burr Brown DAC chip, which is like that big, converts it from digital to an analog signal that's very, very small, coming off a little tiny chip, and then usually it'll drop into some op amps, and it'll just bring it up to 2¼ volts, and then it's output, and then you bring it to a real amplifier, like an amplifier that makes the business. So why not just replace all op amps, which just has no op amps in it, with just the tubes? The 12A7, what model tubes are they? These are the 12, yeah, the 12AX7 output tubes. All amplification is done by the 12AX7 output tubes. So the purpose of this unit, if you ask Black Ice Audio, is to take your digital signals, which this will take a Toslink, SPDIF, USB, coaxial. There's a Wi-Fi antenna. We'll get to that, but I'm not going to demo it because fuck. It's actually not that complicated a process, but it involves installing things, and I'm like, you know what? I believe you. And then 2 RCA outputs, no balanced outputs, your full-size power input. There is a reset switch down here, buried in a hole, for the Wi-Fi, which you have to press to enable the Wi-Fi, and then do that for 10 seconds. You can swap the tubes if you feel like it. What tubes are actually in this? Are those SAV? Something made in... I can't read it. Where are you made? Tell me your secrets. Rush? Something that ends in SIA. That's where it's made. Probably that place. Anyway, it's about 8 pounds. This thing is not light. She's beefy. The top is glass, which we'll talk about that later, because I have a very specific method for cleaning glass that I really want to share with the world. And I still do the life hacks videos, but this is more specifically, if you're buying a Black Ice Audio product, and the top of it is made of glass, you're gonna see, like, it's already got specks of dust that probably came from the fucking ether and landed on it. So, I unplugged the fucking coaxial. So, Cage the Elephant. Back to the wall. Book of Mormon. There we go. So, the point of this is a DAC. And everyone's like, DACs are boring, Zeos, stop doing DACs. Fine. But, this is a tube DAC. So, whatever you plug this into will get a little baby taste of DACness to it. Because you're taking that signal and you're fucking with it a little bit. You're fucking a little bit with the tube. And, like, you can get a tube preamp. A lot of times you get a tube preamp and you have, like, your DAC, which is pure digital, straight to fucking clean analog. And then you take that and you put that through a tube pre, which tubes it just a little bit. And you put it to your solid state high fucking horsepower amplifier and you're good. And that's what this is supposed to be. But Black Ice Audio kind of fucked up. Just a little bit. They didn't fuck up. They did something, and I think they inadvertently made one of the better sounding tube amps. Straight tube amp that I've heard. Because here, if I like put this up, and I take it out of this, they included a 3.5 millimeter headphone out in the front because it still has an amplification circuit in it. Like, you know what? Fuck it. Give them the ability to do that. I love this amplifier. And this acting as a tube DAC, and I could switch between the inputs. I got that thing, I got the fucking thing. I could tell there is just the smallest, just the slightest amount of like, ooh, tube joy, which is what they're trying to sell you with on this unit. There's just a little bit more softness and width and just through the solid state going, oh, click through this. Okay, I can actually hear, if I'm paying a lot of attention, that this Black Ice Audio Glass FX Tube DSD DAC Wi-Fi unit is making a difference. Okay? That's what they want, and that's what I'm going to say. $900, great. But if I bought this, or if I own this, and actually I have used it previously way long ago when I was doing IM testing, I'd use the fucking 3.5 in the front. This is as tube as I've ever heard my HD600s. And the HD600s love a tube. They love a gooey, sticky, fucked up tube just to give it that soundstage and width and warmth that it doesn't get out of a solid state. And when I plugged it into here, I was listening, it was fine, and I differentiate just barely that this is a tube DAC into it versus solid state versus some DACs I like. Plug it into here, it's a whole different ballgame. And it's a clean, well done ball game. Like, it's like they understood that I don't have it because they're not done with it yet. But Black Ice Audio, I click this, do I get another tab? If you scroll down from their products to headphone amplifiers, there's one that looks very much like this. Here, it's literally the same chassis, only $625. But it's just an amp. So you get basically a 1/4 inch and a 3.5 in, and then a volume and loudness on and off, bass on and off. And I don't have this here to play with yet because they're working on the final revision, or they're going to finish this and replace it. But it's just RCA inputs for $625. I'd bet, because it's going to use the same tubes. Use the same tubes? Do you use the same tubes? I bet it uses the same tubes. I'd bet my hat that this has the same internal circuitry of that headphone amplifier, just with the DAC being used for the thing. So I'll link to the $625. What was the name of it? It's going to be something just extremely long. Yeah, this is the glass. Oh, it's just a Glass FX headphone amplifier, which I think they're replacing. I'll link it, whatever they have in stock. $625 for that. If it sounds like this, buy. This for $900, and it's a DAC. That's the other kind of negative. All right, I'll give it to this a negative. With a headphone amplifier, you get to pick whatever DAC you want, because some of you people are asshole audiophiles that want to be in control of every aspect of it. It's actually warm down here because I have the mini split installed. We can go look at that later. This only allows you to give it a digital input to use the headphone amp, which honestly, I'm okay with. My other fucking favorite, and it's a hybrid Not a true tube is an X2O TA22. It's been up here forever. It's sitting over there on the chest freezer, holding up that box, because this is Z Reviews, and that's how we run here. That thing as a hybrid is fucking amazing. 3 watts per channel. It has all the power. It's got digital inputs. Doesn't have remote control? Doesn't have remote control. But it'll also allow you to input your own signal. This, you get your digital inputs, and that's it. The point of it is to have a DAC output with a volume control, and then they threw this on there as like an afterthought, and it's fucking amazing. Like, it's fucking great. Like, I'm gonna end the review of the sound of this DAC and headphone amplifier right now. My life. And it's not a powerhouse because it's only meant to be a DAC output. But if I max it out, HG600s are fucking running, and they're not distorting. They're just running. And there's no op amps in the circuit, so there's no op amps doing that. So it's pure tube. So now let's talk about other issues. I'm gonna peel off this piece of gray tack. So the guys from Black Ice Audio have actually physically met me. I've talked with them, one of the designers, one of the marketers, and they're like, yeah, no, it's a small operation. We've been doing shit for fucking ever. The owner of the company, the guy who's been designing all this stuff, his name is down at the bottom, I believe. Why don't I see it? He's famous, God damn it. He's probably watched this video. Oh, God damn it, I've lost my mind. All right, hold on, wait a second. Okay, I had to go to the history of Black Ice Audio, which starts, by the way, in 1983, when it was called the Jolita, and started in Maryland, and there was Joe and Lita. That was the point. Like, they literally get way to it, but Jim Fozgate was the name I couldn't remember. It was Jolita and Jim Fozgate worked together, and they did this thing, and the guy Jamie is the guy who joined in 2022, who's like, hey, we have a really good products that are made in America, and they're relatively affordable. Why is anyone buying them? Let's go to this guy on the YouTubes. So he's watching this video right now. So thank you. Hello to Jamie. And there's Jared Dunkerson, which is a cool name. Should be a basketball player. Anyway, they went through all these steps. You want to look at it, and there's pictures of him and his wife. I don't know why you would include those, but I'm fine with it. The point is, this is a small operation, and it's mostly like, the guy said, he's like, oh, you don't like the 3.5? Well, we could give you a 1/4 inch. If you like are ordering one of these, which at $625 for the amp and at like $900 for this, I'm assuming with my sort of not popularity, but like my fan base, if you're looking at this and you're like, oh, I want that, you're gonna be able to message them and be like, hey, because you put an order just through the page, you put the order through the page. But if you message them, you're like, hey, I want to buy this, but I want a 4.4 Pentacon on the front of that. It won't be balanced, but I want a 4.4, so I don't have to use an adapter on my stuff. They'll accommodate you. And the reason I brought all of that up is because this fucking blue LED, and they use it in like, I lost my piece. No, that's waifu wallpapers. You can download those in the thing. This fucking blue LED is part of their goddamn, where is it? Did I lose the page? It was under support. It was under Wi-Fi DAC instructions and software. Look, that's the best visual description of a blue LED I've ever fucking seen. It's got like rings around it. It's like, oh my God, it's so blinding. No one wants that shit. I told them no one wants that, and they're like, well, everyone was doing it. So they're a little bit behind in that. Because if you could imagine if you could order this and it didn't have a blue LED in it, because you could request they change the LED. It'll be like, whatever, $50 more, $20 more. Please don't. Please don't. Green would be great. Amber, even better. Anything but that. And the reason I'm harking on it is because you can actually request this sort of stuff. If they have low enough number orders for these things, if it isn't like 500 orders come in, they could take the time to machine the face different for a 4.4. They could change your LED. He was describing things you could ask for with Black Ice Audio, and I got a ton of their stuff still to review. Look how dirty the top is already. Oh, God. We'll get to the glass cleaning part of this. The point is, you could ask for almost anything from them, and they'll try to do it if demand isn't extremely high. So, sounds good, looks good, This glass is like straight do cocaine off it. Again, the company was started in the 80s, so it all makes sense. You can actually talk to human beings there and make requests or suggestions, and they'll listen, which is another reason I want to work with them, because God knows I need a collab headphone tube amp. It'll have Z on the top. This, by the way, is lit up. The glass actually is black, but etched right there, and there's an orange, you know, like a tube glows, an orange glow right there, which I wish that was orange, but it's not orange. So I guess we'll leave this. I'm going to put my little piece of gray tack. Gray tack is linked in the description. Absolutely fantastic for removing all your bright blue LED problems. Just, it's gone now. Safe now. Soft now. Flies now. You get, I guess I should have done a unit tour besides the back. Power button, which you turn on and off, which the only indicator is your input. So we're just going to keep that covered, and you can assume what that does. Your selector, which switches between USB, coaxial, Toslink, and Wi-Fi. Let's quickly talk about Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi antenna, not Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, which honestly on a $900 dedicated tube DAC is a pretty fucking advanced feature considering this how small Black Ice Audio is as a company. But you can read the instructions. You need to install 2 pieces of software. You need to install a SavvyCast driver that's on the computer you want to stream from so that you can pick it as an output device to send out. And you need to install the Bravo HD USB driver for plugging in USB so that you can tell it what your Wi-Fi information is. It's pretty well laid out. It's written in English for a change. How to connect with Wi-Fi. Very clean instructions explaining what's going on. So I didn't bother doing that because I'm not going to really use this. I'm keeping this thing around if I can. And it's going to float around, but it's mostly going to be used with SPDIF. So Wi-Fi, I'm sure it works. It's a little bit of a pain because you got to actually install like multiple things to get it to work. But it'll do DLNA on whatever computer you want. Glass. Let me just get this out of the way. When I clean glass, any glass, window glass, glass like this, never a screen. Don't apply this to like a screen. Those need specific monitor cleaners that don't ruin the anti-glare coating. My methodology is this: wet paper towel, a half drop of some sort of dish detergent, something that cuts grease. The problem with like world's best glass cleaner here is it doesn't remove grease. And glass is a big surface that usually gets grease on it. So you got to use water and dish soap, very, very light, like lighter than you've ever thought, till it was just like a white streak when you're wiping with it. Which just was hard to clean, by the way, because I've had it on for like 15 hours and it was hot and it kept evaporating. But you clean it with a grease cutter and water. Then you use world's best glass cleaner, the foaming action. This is the best stuff. However, they can't include enough evaporative in it so it stays around too long. So I put some rubbing alcohol on that. I keep a rubbing alcohol in a spray bottle. That's how I clean all my devices, is rubbing alcohol in a spray bottle. This just happens to be 99% rubbing alcohol, which I will link in the description, but you don't need to use that. 70 or 91 is fine. And then you spray foam on that, and you spritz it with some rubbing alcohol so that all the foam evaporates, and then you rub it down and you buff it with a goddamn microfiber towel. That's it. So it's soap, wipe off the soap, glass cleaner, spray rubbing alcohol on the glass cleaner, wipe, and then once it's dry, buff, the end. That's how Zeos cleans his glass. Plug this fucking back in. Yeah. Other than what else? Was there something else I was going to talk about that I said at the beginning? I was talking about the glass. I was going to talk about the thing. Talk about the Wi-Fi. God, this sounds fucking good. Like, this could be the only tube amp you own. You want to save $300? Go buy just the tube amp. I can't wait for their new one to come out. I've got a big son of a bitch in the back, like waiting, has a glass case around the tubes. But that's more money. The fact that these are both these things I talked about are under $1,000, and it's made in America, and it's done by someone who's got an actual name in the game since the beginning of time. I'm assuming the 80s is the beginning of time, by the way. The only problem with it being that is that it's kind of like, I wish it had a switch to be like headphone out or back, because you have I would want this to be a 4.4, is you can't have the front headphone plugged in and go out to a different source because they both go off the same volume switch. Oh God, that was up. I'm like, oh, I'm on the wrong DAC. Oh, okay. So now it's on 2. 2 is this. 3 was that one, the Aries. So now if I do this, there we go. My adapter's funking weird. So now I'm currently, oh my God. How does this sound so good? And then I plug this in and I turn this up, and this is the output from the DAC. Easily earns a Zeos recommendation. Easily earns it. I deal with so much bullshit that's like Chi-Fi and $2,000 and doesn't do what this can do with the sort of like style. I'd call it style. It is a stylish unit. That B glows, man. Just except for that blue LED, that doesn't glow. That fucking sears. They've also put look, gentle blue lights under the tubes, because the tubes are glowing, but you can't really see them glowing because it's a DAC. It's not really drawing a lot of it out of there. So they put little blue LEDs there. In fact, you can even see the LED block that's lighting up the glass attached to the top. You could also run it like this, by the way. I was running it like this a lot, because it doesn't matter if a tube is vertical or horizontal as long as there's airflow around it, which there's plenty. So yeah, no, absolutely full thumbs up for so far everything I've tested from Black Ice Audio. I'm gonna do that soundstage expander. That shit's cheap too. And I say cheap like $600 is cheap, but for a unit that's so fucking specific purpose built with a tube in it, it's pretty damn cheap. Anyway, wallpaper, Horde. Link to this. Tell them Zeos sent you if you buy it, because there's no way for do link tracking yet. I'll link to that amp. I guess I'll link to these 2 headphones. They're kind of okay. That's a joke. They're fucking amazing. Link to spray away glass cleaner and gray tack and the wallpaper Horde and the Horde. It's in the Horde. I re-updated the Horde link, by the way, in case it breaks, because it was like 1,300 people, by the way, that were tracking the wallpaper Horde, which is amazing. And yeah, no. The only thing I haven't plugged in yet, again, during this video, I had the stethoscopes here, the Dunu Zen Pros. I'm gonna turn that down. I'm gonna plug this in and just send myself to heaven. Oh, yeah, go. Rock is dead. Yeah, no. KPH 40 is linked also in the description. I'll see you all in 2 days. Don't forget to check out Patreon and Subscribestar. See reviews early. Participate in yard sales. See all sound demos from now on, including ones I'm about to film on this desk with whatever wallpapers I want, whatever music I want. Those are available to the supporters. And then hi-fi guides and yeah, buy a hot dog.